All right, it's just about 6 o'clock and we'll get going with our select board meeting for Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. We got here on time, but we had a really neat thing. I'll start by just getting it in the minute, but we started our evening with, which was the Boston Post cane presentation. It was given to Doris Hines down on Bean Road, and we all gathered and celebrated her a little bit. She's been waiting a long time, she said, to get the cane, and now she has it. And it was really nice. Her family was there with cookies, and it was really very nice.
Great.
She looks fantastic. Yeah, she may have it for a while,
Yeah.
but that was neat. And that's a tradition for those of you who don't know that, you know, these 700 town canes were given out by the Boston Post in 1909. And to give to the eldest member of a community. The idea being you'd take their picture and put it in the newspaper, and then people would buy the paper to see their picture in the newspaper, and the Boston Post isn't around, but the tradition lives on. So that's where we were before we got here today. We will start our meeting with the approval of the minutes, and we'll start with approval of the minutes.
I was a slacker. I didn't review the minutes this week.
Well, we got them a little late. Did you get a chance to see the minutes?
I did,
Okay,
actually, yeah.
yeah, so.
So,
nothing.
I'm supposed to, you motioned?
Yeah, well, yeah, we can still approve them, just I don't know if anyone had any changes for Steve. I did not.
Right, and I will say that it's been reviewed by ChatGPT or whatever it's
Oh,
called, so
okay.
should be
Well,
spot
this is
on
fine.
from a grammatical standpoint.
Fine.
Should be
What
behind,
went wrong with
right?
that?
Who knows?
No, but I did look through, I didn't see anything, but, it looked good. If you'd like to make a motion and-
Raise, I
Yeah.
don't have any issues with that, so I
Great.
make a motion that we approve them.
I will second that motion.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, they are approved. Public comment, we have members of the public with us this evening. Maria, do you want to start? That would be fine.
Okay. In my ongoing efforts to understand our town resource mapping and tax equity, I have encountered significant discrepancies in the public facing Access GIS data on the website that requires administrative clarification. The wide view is, could the board please explain the current configuration of the public access GIS portal specifically? Is the search function intended to display all town parcels exempt and taxable? Or is there a filter in place that limits public visibility? Why do certain search results only yield certain listings when internal town reports indicate significantly more holdings? For example, the KUA on the GIS, the Axis has 26 listings, but the tax cards that I received were 53. Then the narrow view, 65 Main Street, for example, Unit T. Upon reviewing the card for 65 Main Street, Unit T, which is map 102/007, I noted a total valuation of $299, attributed entirely to extra features with 0 for land and buildings. What does a Unit T designation signify within our specific software environment? Why is there a major structure value solely on an extra feature rather than the primary building? How does this specific $299,000 valuation reconcile with the total KUA taxable revenue reported in the most recent town report? As a taxpayer, I rely on the integrity of this digital data to understand our town's financial health. If the public portal is not only showing a partial truth, it raises serious concerns regarding transparency and the assessor's craft we have recently discussed. I look forward to detailed response on how these digital ghost entries and filter results serve the public interest. And as you know, the last meeting, I requested a formal audit. And basically, I don't know what your response really was. I only know what Steve said.
So I'll respond to that, absolutely. I will tell you that because, I did afterwards read your letter through. We do hire an assessor, an independent assessor who does the work for us. I understand you would like us to hire someone else.
Yes.
We did not put that in our budget, first of all, for this year, but it's also not something at this time that our board is interested in doing. We are happy with the results and,
Now,
of the assessment. And so just, I wanted, because you did say in full transparency, you would like to know our timeline on that. And in full transparency, there is no timeline on that. We won't be doing that this year.
one more question is,
Yeah.
the assessor. Is he just obtaining the information from KUA, or does he actually go physically? Let me tell you, I have all this documented on the website and, anybody can see it.
Sure.
I have the copy of the Access GIS, I have the copy of the tax card, I have the, everything that it says,
Mhm.
and it's just so. It's amazing how this has gotten away for 38 years.
Mm.
So we
Yeah.
really need a complete audit and,
Yeah,
but if
so as I
you-
said, that's
I
not
can
something
give you a
this,
whole list of
Yeah.
all the ones that
Yeah.
are suspect. You
but,
could go on the
Yeah.
website.
okay. Thank you. But yeah, so just so you know, that is not something that we plan to undertake.
Okay, so you choose not to check.
We
the
hired,
record.
we paid a person to do those assessments and we are happy with the results. We have read the,
But are you familiar with what exactly,
So-
like, if I give you.
I'm not an
a lot-
assessing
No, I
expert.
know, but
Yeah.
if I give you the certain, all the properties that are in question,
Yeah, that's
can
not,
the assessor go over them with me? So that I can understand what how he determined that a building, the land
Mhm,
that's not educational purpose,
mhm.
why is that not taxed?
Can I just,
Yes,
Just-
please.
I mean, the process with Kimball Union and the
That's what I just said.
the GIS system, the town's tax map system
Yes,
is tied to the assessing records, but it tied only in a cursory way.
right.
Because we don't buy the
That's right.
the Cadillac plan, which would bring the Avatar assessing card and attach it to each of those shape files.
Yeah.
So what you get is a synopsis of, if you looked at your own house, the assessment value would be correct. The details wouldn't be as robust. So if you're talking assessments, the only package that matters is the Avatar system. That's where George does his work.
Yeah.
The KUA campus is very complex,
Mhm.
and George has done it for 30 years. He meets with the administration of KUA regularly. There is a binder book in the vault, which I've mentioned to Maria a bunch of times. That book,
I didn't know that.
no, I have, yeah.
I
That
don't know
book,
what it is.
you just need to come in and ask for it, as I told you in emails.
I've read that in
That-
emails to you.
That binder book shows all of the KUA buildings.
Yeah.
He has sat down with the administration of KUA, he has gone through the buildings.
Yes,
And they apportion out which part of the building is used for educational, exempt by state law, which portion of the building,
That's right.
if it's correct, is a dormitory, subject to taxation, and what some of the other areas are. The nuances get pretty deep. The steam plant
That's right.
heats some of the dorms, but it also heats some of the tax exempt buildings. And so George, that review is done regularly. George is meeting every spring with Kimball Union to go over their properties. He has an appointment there in a couple of weeks.
and he does indeed go into their buildings.
Oh,
I mean, he really does a very thorough
And
job.
it
And the
is,
select board has been very happy.
yeah, I mean,
with the
George
thorough-
Hildum is
the George.
well-known
job.
commodity in the state.
Whether we wish that, we're getting more taxes, I suppose we do, right? But that's not on George and that's not on KUA. He does a very thorough job in looking
And
at
in
what he
terms
can
of
tax for.
exemptions, there are a whole class of exemptions. You talked about transparency, Maria. There are a whole bunch of exemptions that people receive in this town that you cannot see.
That's correct.
It's not allowed. So the assessing system has them shut off. We are required by state law to do that. Every year that we do a revow, which we did one in 23, and we will do one in 28. Every year that we do a revow, the state of New Hampshire sends a team here to watch us do the revow and to review our assessment cards. We pass That the only things we didn't pass on the last assessment review are the fact that current use is so old in our town. Some of our older current use properties don't have maps anymore, because they're physical maps that have been in a file, and that's a very common thing throughout the state of New Hampshire. And we get dung on veterans credits because we refuse to ask veterans if they're still veterans. The state,
they're
right, the
veterans.
state wants us to ask a veteran 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, are you still a veteran? We say, we're not gonna do that. We qualified them once, they're
It
veterans.
seems absurd, yeah.
And so we passed on the way we assess Kimball Union Academy. Maria sent a letter, not flattering letter, to the director of DRA about our assessing practices. He responded that our assessing practices appears to be favorable.
Yeah.
So,
And I did read that as well.
So the
So-
assessment happens every 5 years,
That's
right?
everybody's property gets updated every 5.
Right.
Every year that you pull a building permit or do a project that we become aware of, you get a visit by George Hilda, town
Yeah.
assessor.
Right.
And KUA generally does them every year.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, he has to be.
Yeah.
Because of the work they do, but, you know, if you get a, you know, and it's not only the building permit or the taxable inventory. If George goes by and he sees an addition, or he
Mhm.
sees something that wasn't there last time, he stops and picks it up. I mean, it's the way he has to do his work, it's because it's fair, and every tax card, it can be viewed here in the town office,
Mhm.
and you can look at them. Maria you have an entire set of the Kimball Union tax cards,
Yeah.
so.
Can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
It looked like you said Hildum goes to KUA, he sits with them, and then KUA is the one that determines, yes, this is considered,
No, there is
No.
a discussion between Kimball Union and George, and then
Okay.
he tours the buildings to see if he agrees with that assumption.
Yeah, he is not just,
okay.
He's not KUA's employee, he's
he is
ours.
not, he is
We
ours.
hire him.
And we would like things to be taxed when they can be, right? I mean, we're all on that
We,
road.
we
but-
want it to be fair,
But we
and
want
as
it
the
to be
law,
fair.
as the law
Yeah,
allows.
no, so we want to, if we can tax it, we will, but,
So how much exemptions does KUA have?
You have the list right there. The thing you
Well,
asked for that
yeah.
Yeah.
So is
So-
it broken up?
yes, you'll see it. In fact, you have more than you asked for, because you
Well, no,
have
thank
solar and everything, but all the KUA properties, and you have the cards to match them up with,
I
are right.
don't remember how much.
The total,
Yeah,
I think there's about 63 million in KUA buildings that are exempt.
63 million.
And that's
It was like
include-
98.
Right, well, but the 98, which
is the
if you
rest.
show the coded, if you look at the pink ones that I've highlighted,
To the ID, I-
right, those also include town buildings, which are listed as tax exempt, because we don't pay taxes on the library, the school, those sorts of things.
the building for him. Okay,
Thank you.
well, you're welcome. Any other public comment this evening? We're all here for agenda items.
You guys may wanna go on to
Okay.
public comment.
Okay. I was thinking-
Sounds fine.
You and Dan,
Sure. So, once again, I'm Mike Adams. I'm the current
Yeah.
chair of the Board of Trustees of the Plainfield Libraries, and thank you for allowing me a few minutes to discuss our solar project. As this project involves construction to the Meriden Library, and library is a town building, we felt it was important to keep the board up to date as to what we're thinking and the proposals that have come along and where we want to go with this. So the solar panels have always been part of the big picture when the new library was proposed and plans were drawn up. But as construction went on, funds became a little tight and we had to postpone the solar installation. About a year and a half ago, we decided to revisit this and have done some fundraising. And we renewed or got a new estimate from the first company, who was Revision Energy.
Mhm.
And their estimate came in at $85,000, which was more than we had, still is. And so we were trying to decide how much longer do we keep on with fundraising and where do we go with this? When rather serendipitously, another proposal came along, which some of you may have heard of. It's a group of volunteers led by Tony Newton out of Cornish. And this group is some very community-minded individuals who have some construction background and a real passion for renewable energy and solar energy. And so, they volunteer their time. This is very important to them. They're affiliated with a group out of Southern New Hampshire known as the Hillsborough Area Renewable Energy Initiative. And they have done hundreds of installations for residences down in that area. And they have a very nice website that talks about what they do and is very helpful for us. And Tony and his group have done several residential installations in this area. And they felt that ours was a nice community project that they wanted to be part of, so they gave us their estimate for a similar system with their volunteer labor. It came in at $28,000.
Oh,
which
that's a
was
very nice change.
$57,000 less than the other one. Now, there's a possibility that there may be some federal grant still available, although that program is probably expiring. I think Tony said if you can get construction started before July 4th of this year, you would probably qualify, and that's a 30%. So that would be helpful on top of that. And, you know, this, as an investment, it's basically a net zero situation where we wouldn't have to buy any more electricity. There's a possibility that we could generate some income if they continue those programs, which I think they have to. So anyways, this project should pay for itself within probably 3 years, which is excellent and a great savings for us. And again, a potential to even generate some income. So that certainly got our attention when it came to making this decision. And now none of us on the board have any expertise in construction or roofing or solar panels. So we've been very fortunate to rely on Brad Atwater as our technical consultant. And Brad, you met with the group at the meeting last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, 2 weeks ago. And we certainly value your input and look forward to working with you as the manager on this project and reviewing the plans, the applications, the permitting, and the inspections on the back end. So we're getting close. We're going to vote on this at our next meeting. And just wanted to kind of throw this out there to see if we could solicit any input or if you had any questions as to what we're doing. And we would certainly like to do a solar installation. It's in keeping with the Ready for 100% initiative that the town has going. And we've got Brad to oversee project management end of this. And I think it would also be a great precedent if this were to work out for the community and also future projects for the town.
Yeah.
So that is currently where we are. And at this point, I'd just like to open it up to any discussion, or comments or questions.
So that's an array you're putting up or?
It is a 15.5 kilowatt hour system. And it's on the south and east facing roofs, the back of the building, so it's really not visible from the street. Doesn't interfere with the.
Also, it's on the roof. I was just,
It is a roof
Yeah.
array, not a freestanding
Yeah.
land-based array. And it's got a great exposure. There's no trees nearby. It's a new roof. It's a metal roof. What I know of this, and I'm sure Brad can comment further, is that that's a fairly simple, what I should say, straightforward installation. And as far as the technical abilities of this group, I think they certainly have a lot of experience on roofs and have done this in the area. So I think that would be good. We are going to have them as official volunteers of the library through our friends of the Meriden Library, so that they're covered if they should damage anything. It's kind of one of the requirements that this group has. I guess my only concern, which we'd spoken to Steve about, and the board wanted me to mention this, was any potential liability coverage should someone get injured at the job site. And we just want to make sure that we have insurance coverage so that
Absolutely.
no one in the town or specifically the board, it would be financially responsible for any injury or loss in that regard.
So, as far as are you going to be acting as managing on this project as part of your facilities manager responsibilities? Are
I'm
you
happy to-
wearing a couple of extra hats?
Well, so it felt like it was an appropriate fit.
Mhm.
You could certainly say no, I guess, you're my boss.
No, I
So-
want to know how the logistics of this were intended to work. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it feels like a town project through and through, and so in the
does,
normal
yes.
course of any project in the town, permitting and stuff has a flow of a work plan that happens, and so the systems are already in place to handle that.
Mhm.
The difference is probably maybe a meeting or two on the front end to make
Mhm.
sure all the volunteers, we sort of have an understanding of how the job's gonna happen, who can do what, who needs to stay away from certain activities if they don't have the experience. How do we ensure at the end that we got what was intended, a commissioning process? And so, and the group seems completely amenable to having that cooperation and modifying, this is not the same thing as a house. And
Okay.
so we need to be aware of those differences and behave accordingly, but they aren't raising any concerns in that regard. They're looking for some direction from us as to what we care about, what kind of guardrails we want to put in place, but I'm pretty comfortable that we can handle that in a couple of conversations. And then the actual work, I think initially they were trying to be conservative about manpower availability. And so they offered a longer time frame. Last round, Tony had said he's got some other more professional builders who will be actually on the roof. I think that suggests there'll be more total manpower, and so I'd expect that. It was somewhere around a month.
Yeah,
they had asked for.
their long range was about a month.
About
And one
a
other
month
thing
the
that I
last time.
also mention is that we are responsible for buying the panels and the inverters
Right.
and all the cables and
Mhm.
wires. But we would be paying a professional electrician
Okay.
to do the service of hooking it all up and getting everything plugged in. That's not a bond, that's something we
Yeah.
actually have a master electrician to do.
And is this something you have the money in hand for?
Absolutely
So
have
I think
more
that's,
than enough
you know,
money to
that's-
cover this project. And not only is it a huge savings.
Yeah.
But it just feels right. It
Oh,
feels like
yeah.
a very
I would agree.
community-based,
Absolutely.
volunteer, good neighbor kind of a thing. In fact, down in the south, this group refers to the day of as a raiser.
Mhm.
They hearkening back to the barn raiser days where they bring the community together and the homeowners there. And
Yeah.
they all work towards this common goal. So I think it has merit and again, our consultant feels that it has merit. And if and when I should say it's a good outcome,
Mhm.
it will be an interesting precedent going forward.
And I didn't hear Steve's answer to the liability
Oh,
question,
that's
because
right.
Steve had
Steve.
left, and I just
Oh,
want to
yeah.
make sure that that was
Yes, I mean, I had a discussion with Tony about where the volunteers could be and couldn't be.
yes.
And where they could expect coverages and where they couldn't.
Mhm.
We do not have workman's comp coverage for
For
volunteers.
volunteers, right?
And so that we know that from past cases and so that they would, and then we certainly couldn't. We couldn't absolve them of any damage that they did to our roof. I don't think they're gonna damage our roof. And I think we would make sure, Brad, has worked with Tony on other projects or reviewed Tony's work. And so we did have a conversation about the appropriateness of volunteers. He got back to me and said that he had the latest proposal, the one you'll be discussing, doesn't involve volunteers being on the roof. And so I think I think that's been taken care of. And I think it's a great outcome. I mean, the Meriden Library,
yeah.
electric bill that goes to the Plainfield taxpayers for the
Right.
Meriden Library.
That's right.
I mean, so I think that's a good thing.
And, my understanding is that he's got folks who are currently contracting, so they're carrying liability insurance. Tony has taken out, after some other conversations we had on other jobs, he's now carrying liability coverage. And so I think that the potential exposure would be on 2 or 3 folks. And we talked about the cost of pulling a policy for
Yeah.
them. is relatively minimal, and so
It makes sense.
We
You
could
know,
cover that.
you could cover it
Right.
We
and,
don't want them out any money. when they're
Right,
trying to
and-
help us.
and-
volunteer.
right.
so anyway, I think there's inexpensive ways to fill in any gaps that we might find, but we will look for those gaps and make sure there aren't any.
Terrific.
I like this.
Any
I'm
other
excited.
questions? Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure of what your role in this was,
Yeah,
because you've got a lot of stuff to do already.
so in terms of total hours, I don't think there's a lot involved. I would
Okay,
certainly
so long as
say,
you figure
you
you
know,
can,
20 or 30 if it runs the whole summer and I gotta make a bunch of trips.
if you
but I
think
don't-
that it works, then.
I think it can work,
Okay.
yeah.
And we certainly appreciate that and thank you for working with us on this.
Sure.
I think our memorandum of understanding has us responsible for these sorts of things on the outside of the
no,
building.
absolutely.
And
It's a
so,
town
so,
building,
you know, the fact that our
Yeah,
facility
I like
guy is
that.
overseeing
Absolutely,
the work is right up the line of having a
Yeah, I
facilities
would, I
person.
would agree, you know, you'll be overseeing the roof at the town shed this, you know,
Exactly. Big roof.
because it's our,
Yeah,
it's
Well,
our.
that's what I
And
was a
from a
little
nuts
bit
and bolts
concerned about,
point of view,
how far you were
Yeah.
spreading yourself.
all the materials would be bought through the town and we would give you
Okay,
the money to cover that.
My
We have
understanding, he's
Yeah.
got, he'll
We-
provide a shopping list.
Right.
yeah.
Probably you guys would execute the purchase order so that,
Yeah.
you know, you're handling the money, is sort of how I'm thinking it would look, but
But again, we've got,
Great.
I mean.
Yeah, we can make that part
This
work.
is
easy.
fantastic, thank
I'm
you
very-
for,
It
for the
really-
work and making
It
this
was
happen.
something that caught our attention and.
Yeah.
We certainly had to look into it a lot further, and I think we've done our due diligence on this to the point where we
Yeah,
want
wow.
it. We're gonna be voting on it at our next meeting, and I think I have the votes.
And the
necessary.
select boards, the select board
board.
behind you,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
My only question was,
Yeah.
I know other projects in the Upper Valley have run into this. Is there
Okay.
any hang up for you convincing Liberty to take the electricity?
I don't think that's
There's
a
an
problem. I think they're
infrastructure
down
application.
to-
We went through that process during the building of the building and we're told so the whole thing is, if their infrastructure has to be upgraded, then they get to pass that on to the
Yes.
So
customer
this is close
driving.
enough to a big line that I doubt there's any.
Well, never say never.
Never.
So we gotta,
You would think.
it wasn't gonna cost us anything 4 years ago or 2020, yeah, 4
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
So Tony's already on, he knows that's one of his to do, he's gonna fill out
Okay,
that form,
great.
but I'll probably be ending up talking with Liberty, but basically, that is something that has to get nailed down.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
all your
much
work
for
on
your
that.
time,
Thank you
and,
so
Yeah,
much.
thanks
We're
for,
looking forward to reporting back on some success with this.
yeah, we look, yeah,
Thank you all.
look forward to watching it. From across the street. And what, I think.
And I suppose you could do Dan as Dan or as a department head, however you wanted
You
to.
know, he's here and probably has other places to be and, yes.
He can be the
Usually
first.
not.
Well, not even the first
I gotta go
department
home
head.
eat.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
do it. So I just was gonna stop by and talk a little bit about what's been happening with the rec and then talk into a few things coming up.
One thing we should do,
Oh.
Ken Weber, do you know
Oh,
Dan
yeah,
Cantlin?
we met,
Yeah,
yeah.
we met.
Dan is our rec director. A huge job,
So we've
huge
moved into
job, but
department reports.
multi-million-dollar budget.
Budget, the real budget. better pay
You may revise this report.
Dan does as much with $17,000 as can be done, or 19,000, whatever the current number is. It's not a large number.
So, just quickly, recently we finished up basketball. We had, decent numbers for basketball. And everything went good. We had 8 participants for the 3-4 boys and 9 for the 3-4 girls. And we had 18 in the grades 1 and 2 co-ed, which is, that's a big group. And we were able to use a local, senior, who plays on varsity, Lebanon varsity for our official this year, Niall Sanders, who did a great,
Oh.
did a great job for us. So that all went well. Baseball's been dwindling all over.
Yeah, for years.
So, and then along with just the percentage of people playing baseball, our numbers in the school drop, and it's been difficult. So quite a few years ago, the school dropped the 7th and 8th grade program. And then shortly after that, the 5th and 6th dropped. And then I think 3 or 4 years ago, I wasn't able to get numbers for the third and fourth grade. So they've been going to Lebanon. So this year I have 8 kindergarten and for the 1-2, I've got 7 signed up. 7 isn't doable. So I've sent out an email. There's no second graders in that group. It's all first graders. So I've sent an email out to try to combine the kindergarten and the first graders. If it was second graders involved, I think it'd be too much of a gap. But, so I think we can do it with those numbers. So we'll be starting that here about mid-April. The next thing coming up is the fishing derby, which is tentative for June 6th. Down here, behind the store again. This will be the second year that the state will not match the fishing. Starting next year, I think they will be going back to matching whatever we buy, so. This will be the second year we've had to buy all the fish up front. Mike does give us a good deal on it, but, it's a little bit more last year and this year. 4th of July. Plans are in the work. I'm gonna be sending out information, trying to get participants into the parade and the town events. Theme wise, I usually have a few themes of my own thoughts, and then I'd like to try to get input from people. And then present it to you, because I don't think I should be making the choice by myself. I think it should be something that we do as a group. This year, the one I like, Bev Widger sent in, it was Plainfield, our hometown celebrates USA 250th. I personally would like to go with that one, unless somebody's got something that they thought.
It makes sense.
I think it works. I mean,
Kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we kind of felt that we were gonna go around the 250th.
Yeah.
That's what all those
Right.
had that I got down there, but that's the one I thought gives us the whole hometown theme, so if everybody's good with that.
Old hometown?
any objections? It's,
Plainfield, our hometown celebrates USA 250.
did I see your hand up, Brad?
Nope. I was
Oh,
distracted.
okay, okay. You're gonna object now, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
okay.
no.
Or forever?
I hear no objections from the select board,
No,
so
So I think,
Yeah.
I think that's the one to go with.
I think so.
As I get involved in get into this more, I'm sure I'll be stopping up and giving you updates and looking for, I know we need to meet at some point. And talk about traffic and parking and all that stuff, so how we want to go about it. So as we get into that, I'll give you an updates and stuff. The last thing I've got was Spirit Day,
Mhm.
end of summer. And
We were thinking date issues this
yeah,
year, right?
so
So
we
okay.
always, it's planned for the last day of, last Sunday of August, which is August 30th. We always try to stay away from Labor Day and Cornish Fair. The Cornish Fair is the weekend before that. Labor Day is the weekend after. I think occasionally we've had Labor Day fall on that weekend of the last Sunday, and we've moved it. But the only concern was school starting. Lebanon is starting the week before that. I have talked to Audra, and she will have they set their calendar, I think, the middle of April. But her anticipation was that they would be starting after that date because of the school being worked on. Through the summer.
Right.
She felt they were gonna need all of August, so that they probably wouldn't start before that date. So,
So
it's
what
kind
is
of
the tentative date?
August 30th.
Okay,
Have you talked to them about construction schedules to know whether there's going to be any issue with having Spirit Day with,
I talked to Audra and she
and
didn't,
they should be wrapping up at
Right.
that point,
yeah,
so.
and she didn't mention any concern. I talked to her specifically about
Okay.
Spirit Day being the 30th.
Yeah.
And she didn't raise any concerns or anything. I have not been able to get a nailed down a fireworks cost yet, exactly. DJ, I emailed a couple weeks ago, I didn't get a response, I emailed her again. And did get a response, and I talked to her on the phone, she's down in North Carolina. She anticipates it could raise a little bit this year because of the tariffs.
Mhm.
They said they're getting hit by that. I told her the minimal we can get by with. And she said she would have something to me the end of this week, or the
Okay.
beginning of next week. So, I will pass that on when I get that. I think that's about all I have. If there's any questions or anything?
No, I'm good with it.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay,
And thank you, Dan, for all you do.
So
for
much
us.
work.
I mean,
Yeah,
Every year you.
well, it's fun.
well.
Well, it's not that
It's
much
fun for us. It's fun for us. Yeah.
All right, so I'll probably stop up in the next, either the next one or the following. one
Okay,
with-
Great,
with more
you're
information.
welcome anytime.
I mean, the one thing, and just Kent, for your information, being new to the board, the one thing we consistently struggle with is Spirit Day is seen by those who attend as one of the great events in the Plainfield calendar.
So I was gonna, I was hesitant to appear ignorant, but I don't remember anything about Spirit Day.
Yeah, it's,
And so right after the two hundred and
Yeah.
fiftieth celebration of Plainfield, that great summer we had where Margaret Dry had done so much work and others, and there was this great celebration. Steve Taylor got the notion that, Jesus, we had so much fun, let's get together on a Sunday night at the end of the summer and have a cook. It became a merger almost of the
With the
Meriden corn
corn
roast,
roast,
the
yeah.
Meriden corn roast, and the idea of just gathering as a community.
and having
and-
some fireworks.
And to have some fireworks, and initially, Steve would stand out there with a fireman's boot or a boot that looked like a fireman's boot and extract money from people, and Dan has tried that. Cause the goal was to do it without taxpayers, involvement. But with the fireworks, which are by far the most important part of Spirit Day in people's minds, it's really Spirit evening. People arrive about 5 o'clock, they spread blankets and things
Where
out.
does this happen? Take
Plainfield
place?
School. And Dan has the grills up and they're grilling corn, and Dan usually has a band
The
that's
fire
agreed to
trucks
play.
are there.
It's a big town party.
And McNamara.
Mary brings the milk and
And
the
the
chocolate milk
creamies
and the
for
ice cream,
free.
or the ice cream at least.
Yeah.
And so it's very well, I mean, literally, people call the day after and say, I've never lived in a town that did something like that. But, and there's always a but.
There's a cost.
Yeah, it costs about $7,000 for the
Yeah.
night. 7,000, that's somebody's house. And in terms of taxes, and we've struggled with that, but Dan and I, in talking about it, without the fireworks, it isn't Spirit Day. I mean, Spirit Day really, it's a commercial grade fireworks show.
They're good.
There is a
Yeah.
ton of value in terms of the folks who come. I mean, people, it's fun to watch families talk, be talking, what'd you do this summer and how are your kids? And here's my kids. And the police do a bunch of PR work with sparkler, or not the glow sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't
So
just
that's
Sparklers.
Kids
so-
are running around all over the place.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
kids just-
and it reminds you what a wonderful town
That's where-
Plainfield is and how safe our elementary
Yeah.
school is. Big flat area with a bunch of fields, fires there. But there's a cost, and so we're always weighing the two. What would you say, Dan? 400?
People?
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
would too.
I can, more than one year, and most years, Liz McNamara parks
Mhm.
at the edge of the parking lot with the ice cream truck. And the line touches the gym
Oh,
door,
yeah.
and it will stay there for an hour, and she's in there all by herself.
The
just-
line moves, but it doesn't get any.
Right, right, I mean, you're just scooping ice cream for kids. And the McNamara's, when they charge us the minimum amount they feel like they can
Yeah.
to do that. But it is a really cool day. About 10 years old now, have we done
Oh,
10?
it's at least, it's,
I was gonna say.
It goes by so
I
fast.
think we're little.
this may be 13 or 14 years. One year we didn't have it because of the COVID.
Yeah.
And 1 year got rained out and we ended up moving it to Monday, but other than that, it's always been held on the planned date.
It's actually a vote at town meeting was created it. Steve Taylor had an article, a petition to ask the selectmen. And so it is what it is. It's very popular. Every year we scratch our heads and said, you know, is it $7,000 worth of popular? But it is in the budget. The budget that's approved for this year has Spirit Day in it.
And there's a band, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Some, in fact, last year we brought in the Tasker Fund funded,
That was the year before.
was it the year, is it, oh, Jesus, it goes by quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one step below Woodstock from 1960, whatever, It's virtually the same.
Almost the same thing. That's right. All right.
That-
Did you have a question, Maria,
Yeah.
or Dan, before he goes?
Do you track of the attendance for these?
Do we
events?
track the attendance?
Yeah.
We do not.
We can ask Liz about.
Right, Liz is our, how many ice creams did you sell? That's, or yeah,
And the children, they've been going down, the
That-
participation?
No.
Or
In the
Oh, in the
sport,
sports?
in the sport,
in the
yeah.
sports, because baseball's been getting hit all around because of,
But are you doing soccer and?
yes, soccer's still big, basketball's been steady. The baseball has gone down, mainly because of the other options today versus what they were many, lacrosse has been big.
And they're welcome to join the
More
rec
kids
rec
doing lacrosse
programs
these
too.
days.
Yeah, and
I
lacrosse.
guess I don't understand,
Breaks my
I'm
heart.
sorry, I don't wanna extend the meeting here, but, so the school teams are no longer out of the school, they're like out of the recreation department?
School picks up at fifth grade, fifth
Fifth grade,
and the rec does up to fourth grade.
I see.
so Dan has historically tried to calibrate his program to be the minor leagues for the schools program. He gives the third and fourth year olds a chance to play soccer, play basketball. It pains many of us that the baseball field
Kills me.
is just
Kills
empty
me.
down there, just
No,
empty.
but it's kind of the way of
Oh.
the nation right now.
But Jack Clegg, Dennis Reich, all the baseball games we played down there. But it is, but that's our rec is, the school would love us to take their athletics and we would love not to.
Yeah.
And so our rec program is really third, fourth based.
I think baseball used to be the big.
All
right.
Soccer's always been big in Plainfield, but I think baseball used to be very, very popular in Plainfield.
Yeah, and all over.
But back in.
So
There
we
is,
never had lacrosse either. Now they have.
No.
no,
Yeah.
and
And so-
I know Brandon was always pushing me to start lacrosse and I always says, we don't have enough kids. I can't do lacrosse and
Yeah.
baseball. Cause then I won't have enough for either. It may be that we end up having to look at lacrosse down the road. I don't know.
Yeah. Maria, did you have one more question?
Yeah, so the equipment is bought with the town money, or how does that work? Or do you have the kids? And also another question was about the school. Do you coordinate with the school or do you work with the program there as well?
I coordinate as far as space at the school, yes. Equipment, some equipment is
And they
bought,
don't charge you?
no,
Okay.
no.
No,
No, I
very
think,
cooperative.
I think the rec department, the overall budget is whatever it is in the town report, 18, 19,000, 20,000. And you bring in 13 or 14 in revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, so it's, for the taxpayer, it's a bargain.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dan.
we,
Oh.
as far as, I mean, we charge fees and a lot of that makes up, like. We
Oh, you
budget
charge
stuff, but
fees?
yeah. but-
Okay, and so that covers both programs.
Yeah.
No, but it comes close.
It comes, it,
About how much do you charge, like the total that comes in? What's the,
oh, I don't have that.
I mean, I think Steve just gave us a ballpark that you may.
Yeah, we can, I mean, we
We
know,
can get that. It's,
I have it, I don't have it.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a question.
oh, yeah, yeah. All right.
There is one piece I forgot talking about basketball. I did talk with Audra, cause I envisioned at some point. Hoping to replace the hoops at the school. We have hoops that hang on to the existing ones
Mhm.
to get the 8 foot.
Yeah,
And I don't think they're gonna have to be replaced at some point and they're costly. They're not the safest to put up and take down.
mhm.
I would love to at some point replace those with the ones that you can raise and lower at the school. I did talk to Audra briefly about if we could raise the money. Would that be an option? And she was pretty positive about that. So it's not something I wanna put in the budget, it's something I'd wanna do a fundraiser, or if there's grants or anything available, so that's something I was gonna look at down the road. Cause
Any idea what kind of money that is?
Yeah, I was wondering.
I think Cornish did it recently, or within the last few years, I think it was around 20 grand, but I don't know that for sure.
Ouch.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's, I was thinking 10, but. Yeah,
It was,
I think.
it was 10 apiece, yeah, if you want both hoops.
If you want both ends. Maybe there's a matching grant out there
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there may be something out there, or we can do some fundraising or something over time. It doesn't have to be done immediately, but it's something I would like to see at some point. We could replace those hoops, but it's definitely nothing I want to budget.
Yeah.
I think there's other ways to get it.
Great, thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
All
Jim.
right, well, we will continue then with department reports, and we'll start with you.
Thank
back
you.
there, Chief.
Sure. So I've been up since 2 AM, so bear with me.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
So, since the last meeting, we've had 4 calls, which brings us to 43 for the year. So we had a hiker slip on French's Ledges, so we used the UTV to bring him out with a shoulder injury. And we haven't had people walked out of their houses in years, and we've had 3 this year already. One
More
of our
people are
firefighters-
locking their doors.
one of our firefighters got the door open with his credit card before the rest of us got there. Yesterday morning, we had the wires down on 120. We also hadn't had to do traffic control for Liberty for more than 4 hours recently. Middle of the night, they couldn't get a traffic crew, so we had 120 shut down, and talking about traffic on Chalice, we diverted all the traffic down Chalice Road because the bottom of Grantham Mountain was also closed. When the power came on from that, it tripped an alarm at K-Way, so I almost got home when we came back to K-Way. I'm gonna talk to them about that, because it's always the same building when the power comes back on, that it trips the alarm, and it's always just as we're getting back home, so something's,
Yeah,
the power comes back on, it shouldn't.
there's a pattern.
Shouldn't trip the fire alarm.
Yeah.
So working on that, K-Way did just reprogram both Kilton and Welch storms so that they would make more sense, but they haven't put a map up yet, so when it came in as apartment A, we as a fire department still didn't know which of the 3 apartments was apartment A, so we had to go through all of them. We also discovered, and Brad got a hold of Vermont Generator, the transfer switch at the Meriden Station didn't come on, so the generator would run, but then they couldn't put the doors up, so they had to go
Oh.
and mess with the box manually. So that's been fixed today. They came right over, and at the same time, they're servicing some of the other generators in town, because they do that throughout the year. We found out it was a corroded wire outside in the generator box finally. Estherbrook School came to the Plainfield Station for a visit. There was 7 of them and a couple of the adults. They were there for like 2 hours. It's a small group like that. We had them squirting water with the forestry pumps and
They must have had a blast.
stop, drop and roll on the station floor. The West Central Hazmat team in New Hampshire that we're members of, that meeting was at the station last week. And with that, that's one of our, we pay $2,000 a year dues, and every 5 to 10 years, we get a gas meter. So it's same as in years past. I'm gonna buy a second gas meter that's just like it, so we have the same meter on both sides, and then the Meriden Association is gonna buy the $2,500 calibration jig, because you're supposed to calibrate these every 30 to 60 days. So we don't have to go to Lebanon every month and a half just to calibrate them. So this Meriden Association is gonna buy the calibration side of that. Jamie and I went to Canaan for a mutual aid meeting last week. There's 3 people from the fire marshal's office there. And one of them was the same person. So New Hampshire has a grant to get carbon monoxide detectors into schools. So, I met her down here at the Plainfield School. There's now a carbon monoxide detector in the furnace room. And they would also put one in the kitchen, but there's no source for carbon monoxide, because we don't really cook food in Plainfield School. It's just heaters, and that's all electric. So we didn't put one in the kitchen area because there was no source. Second installed this morning. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm double booked with meetings at the 12A station, so there's our spring warden training virtual and our regular association meeting. And then next week through forestry, we're doing a combined drill with Cornish. We're gonna lay some ditches and fields and stuff on fire down in Cornish. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Good choice.
That's right. Well, we tried last year down at the pit, and we couldn't get the leaves burned. It's too wet. I did another home inspection on Stage Road yesterday. Bianca's gonna be in town tomorrow, bringing our air pack tanks back.
And we'll catch up on, Richie's gonna put out the fire extinguishers that she didn't catch last time. So
Okay.
by the end of tomorrow, we should be all
All
caught
right,
up.
I'm meeting her at 2:30 at the.
Oh, so you're after us.
And then you have to tell me which ones you don't have, 'cause I'm not sure.
The tag dates. I can check on what year they are, but
All right, well.
the one she did have a 2026,
Okay.
so if they don't have a
Oh, yeah.
2026
Yep.
tag on them. She
Yeah.
said there's 7.
The 7, okay.
And then because I've been testing these, the select board probably doesn't even know this. Back before we were the municipal department, Meriden, Plainfield and Cornish co-owned the air compressor for refilling our Cascade bottles. It's in the townhouse station down in Cornish. So now I don't know how it is, but basically it's co-owned between Plainfield and Cornish, and we paid and put a booster on it to get higher pressure. And so that hasn't been serviced in a number of years. So we're gonna get that serviced, and we're not sure who paid for the service last.
Okay,
Bill Hartman and I are under the standing, we'll probably just split the fee and get it done.
Have you by any chance talked to Rob DePietro about that? There's 2 cold pack that sometimes are in the cruisers,
Yeah.
He's working on that.
Well, but that's the tool that, he tried to do it using the compressor at Highway and something,
No, that's a fire extinguisher.
okay, sorry. Oh,
Yep,
this
and
is-
the valves need to be replaced, and Bianca had valves, but
Okay.
we found some in the.
You're already on
Yeah, you can
that.
fill that with a normal air compressor.
Yeah, okay.
So then along with that, we have big bottles, and both of our utility trucks were refilling our little ones. And those haven't been tested since they were installed in the trucks, and there's also supposed to be tested every 5 years. So I'm working with Cornish when they come to do that compressor, they can test all 7 bottles in our 2 utility trucks. I don't know how much that'll cost, but the ones, they haven't been tested since they were installed in the trucks. One of them 10 years ago, and they're supposed to be done every 5 years. So we're trying to catch up on some of that. They're out of sight, so you just kind of ignore them, right?
You're doing pretty good for
That's how
having
that
been
works.
since too.
Well, I didn't know. And then I met, last week for town hall with Vermont Life Safety to get a quote for replacing the system over there. It's just another one of those things, the new systems don't work because we don't heat the building. And so, because therefore we can't put in the state of the art system, but all the sensors that you didn't want to replace last year that are 30 years old. Heat detectors need to be replaced every 15 years, and some of those are 30 years old, so they're gonna replace all the detectors that you didn't replace last year, but what you did replace is still good. Because we're not upgrading the main panel.
Just to allay any concern.
Yes.
When we had them come through
Yeah.
and test them last year. Everything eventually tested. We had 4 that we swapped, I think.
Yeah.
So
And then
yes,
they had
they
to
are
add
out
some
of
stuff.
date and out of spec, and they
But
absolutely
they
need to
were.
get swapped out. But they functioned properly when they were
Yeah,
tested.
so you know, the phrase, the ones you didn't want
And
to
we just,
do last year.
we just had Vermont Life Safety come through this building and highway
Yeah.
and do the same testing procedure. They swap some batteries to bring those up to snuff. And we have a report and it's the same thing. They're
Yeah.
30 odd years old. They should be on a program to be replaced. They are testing, functioning, so.
And so then since we have the grant money for the system, it's not like we're gonna say, oh, we're not gonna do that. And we're gonna do that in 5 years, because then we won't have the grant money to do the
Yeah.
replacement, so it matches up, and then doing that, because we're gonna be adding dehumidifiers in the crawl space and heaters up front, we're gonna add a few more heat detectors. And we're gonna put a beam detector over the stage, which we know will work when it's cold, whereas we're not sure
Right.
that the smokes will work when it's below
Right.
freezing. I'm still waiting for a quote on that. Yeah, that's all I have down on my list for today.
Great, I think you should go get some sleep.
Nicely done.
You have a nice meal and some sleep, yeah.
really.
Should we call a
Thank you.
cab?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, so I felt kind of bad not knowing how Chalice Road was in the middle of the night when we were sending traffic down that way, but you know what?
What are you gonna do?
And the trailer truck came along just as they got it, so we could do one-way traffic. I wasn't gonna send the trailer truck up Chalice Road.
Good idea.
Yeah,
That's posted.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had him wait, so yeah, it was a little frustrating with Liberty last night, which usually doesn't happen. I mean, they were asking all kinds of questions and the Bill was in charge, and they shut down one leg, and that's why we we got toned out at 2:13, but a lot of people didn't lose power till 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
Liberty showed up
That's
and
when I
they
lost
needed to
power.
work on the line, so they shut down the power that was on.
I was
And then
confused.
it still took them 2 hours.
Yeah, I
to-
saw people on Facebook saying we lost it at 2 o'clock. I thought we didn't, we had it.
Yeah, so there's
Four.
more than one main line coming
Got
down
it.
from Lebanon, and only
Yep.
one fell down. I don't know if they ever figured out why it fell down. Initially, we didn't have any trees on the wires or anything, it's just a wire in the middle of the road.
Well, thank you.
So anyway,
We'll move on to Richie then. That's, it sounds like a good segue.
So as weather permits, we're continuing on filling potholes, mud ruts.
Yeah, I liked this list. This was new.
Yeah, we're working on making things better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really did. I liked seeing the list in advance, so thank you. That was
Yeah.
kind of, just putting it all together. I appreciated it. Can't find it now, but
So anyways,
Anyway.
I'll just beat some of the roads. I'm gonna make it long, but
yeah.
Bean Road, Camp Road, Hawkins,
Oh, there it is.
that Bean Road there, True, Ladue. We did some mud ruts up on Dew Hill there, and do some of those, and then I had blew a line on the grader.
Yeah, I see that.
So
I know. What's
You
that?
just got the thing, you're
well,
gonna
it's like
break
using
it.
So, yeah, you know, you gotta, this thing's gonna happen.
It happens. Okay.
So then we took in. I got them, replaced, actually I ended up replacing all four, cause two of them blew, and I said, well, the other two are gonna go eventually, so I'm all just stay
Yeah.
on four. So I ended up replacing all four, and then the piston was leaking pretty good, cause I knew that we had. Hydraulic pistons were gonna have to repack, so that one was leaking pretty good, so I took that off, had that repacked, just put it on yesterday, so now we got back in. That's back on, and then I did change the transmission fluid today, so now that's done, and a new filter.
She's ready to grade, ready to
So
go.
that's what I'm trying to do is get everything. So I mean, we've got some other leaks on it, but I really want to get it so I can just go out with it and do what I gotta do without.
Geez, that would be nice.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
so
goal.
far, yeah, but you can't do nothing about it. So we were down on River Road working down there, doing some down there with the Pauls, Black Hill, Old County. And when it's raining. We end up bringing our crush back to the shop. We have been picking up around the shop, trying to get back, clean back up. And I usually try to do that spring when there's not much going on.
Mhm.
And then in the fall, try to get all the culverts and all the round and all the things we need to do, try to get all that picked up and reorganized. So that's what we've been doing the last couple days, trying to get that done too. And that's probably just about it, cause that's all we've been actually doing.
So are you still happy with the grader?
Oh, yeah.
Or is
Oh, yeah,
this
it's
all like par for the course kind of stuff that you're?
I kind of figured that there's gonna be some lines
I
around.
mean, we know it's a machine that had sat for a while.
Yeah.
So-
17 years,
so
so there's
things-
things that are gonna leak.
So things that
Yeah.
are rubber, things that are, there's gonna be some seals, but
The O-rings are disintegrated in that, and the guy told me, he says, they're his pieces of it here, that's how bad it was, I go, holy crap, but now
we're gonna
it
open,
stays there.
we're gonna open bids next Friday on the grader. We'll
I
let
saw that
Yeah.
paper, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll let you know. We know we're gonna get at least 2 bids.
We've got a minimum on that, right?
Right, we want 10 for the package.
Yeah.
And combination of some fashion, and if we don't get 10, then we won't award it until we've talked to the select board. If we get 10, we'll go ahead and just sell it, and make it go away. But we're gonna, they're due at noon on Friday, and we're opening them at 12:15, and then I'll let you know.
Great.
so before you move on. 'cause it's
Sure.
kinda highway and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it was either on the weekend or Monday, Doug Plummer with Wavecom got the repeater installed up on
Oh.
Black Hill, that will end up being highway frequency.
I heard him all day,
What's that?
I heard him all day,
Yeah,
yeah, you can hear him at the shop all day.
Well, that's good.
Somebody
That's
said
great,
he
that's
walked
good.
back and forth.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
so the
Working.
the transmit receive frequencies are swapped, so even though we have the frequencies on our radio, our fire radios, we've got to get all our fire radios reprogrammed, so if we want to talk to him, but that's.
Is it easier for them to swap it the other way at their end?
For some reason they can't, because that's my first question
Okay.
back to Doug, and he said, no, unfortunately, whatever this repeater that they got for discount or free or donated or whatever that's up at Hudson's, they couldn't be swapped.
I can, and you know this, in 30 years of doing this, or whatever it's been, there's never been an easy radio thing in the town of Plainfield. It just, radios don't work here. We just don't.
And so actually, we were discussing today in the police officer, we don't need to have every radio in the fire department be able to talk to highway. Cause,
Right.
you know, someone in their pickup truck, with a portable radio doesn't necessarily need to call highway, because the fire department will be there with one of our big red trucks, so, you know, you need to have the big red trucks and, you know, Stephanie and, you know, myself and maybe Bill and some of the officers be able to talk to highway, but everybody doesn't need to talk to highway.
All right. Well, thanks, Rich, and I really did. I mean, if you want to continue to.
Yeah,
give us your
that
list,
was,
that was great.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, that's it. I just kind of picked out a few things.
No, but I think what Amy's saying is,
In
I think
writing.
what Amy's saying is she liked the
I
written
like
list.
the
Well,
education, and
we
you don't
will-
have to read it all to us. I don't expect you to do
Is
that.
season over?
No.
Yeah.
We haven't officially called.
You know, places out here and there, especially the shaded spots, you can see it coming out of the
Yeah.
ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then try to hit it with a grader. It's just like going across. It's just, you can hear it almost,
Yeah,
but yeah.
all right.
Anyways, I'm gonna take off. Have a
Yeah.
good night.
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't blame you.
It's 4:30, so.
Yeah.
oh, geez.
I'm every day.
Yeah, everyone, people are working
Thank
really
you.
hard around here. Chief.
Alright, apologize for not being here at the last meeting, but I was.
How dare
You're
you.
allowed to have
How dare you
vacation.
go on vacation?
So for the month of March, calls for service were 123 with only one motor vehicle accident, so
What?
that was impressive. We are continuing to work on connectivity issues. We met with a rep from AT&T FirstNet the other day. AT&T FirstNet is a dedicated nationwide communications platform created specifically for first responders, fire and police. So based on our conversation, they can improve Plainfield Police Department's communication systems, boost emergency response, and ensure we receive priority connectivity. So if a storm happens,
Mhm.
we are on the top of the line for using cellular signals. Talking with them, they are going to be applying for a grant, which will be giving free cellular boosters, one for the PD and one for each fire station. So first responders on that FirstNet platform will have connectivity. So we don't have connectivity in our office as it is right now because of the slate roof.
Mhm.
And same thing for the firehouses with the metal roofs.
Yeah,
So this is a grant that they're putting together and they are going to be giving us the boosters free of charge with no.
is there a timeline on that? Like, just how long do they anticipate? I know things could take longer, but like, within
That we're
6
gonna-
months?
That we're gonna get them? I'm hoping a month,
Oh,
if that.
Okay, sounds pretty good.
The program exists. they just
That's pretty
needed to
cool.
apply for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's nice.
Do
Yeah.
they clamp on a mast? They sitting up, what it look
So,
like and
I
how do they
don't know
attach?
the ins and outs of it, but it's rather simple. You can actually buy a booster for your home.
Mhm.
You plug into the wall, it's a booster, and I think there's some sort of antenna that we get outside, just to bypass.
If you could let me know.
Well, yeah,
When the time comes to
Yeah.
mount that. I'd be
we will
happy
let
to-
you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, we are we're getting a free 30-day trial FirstNet modem for Sergeant Petro's vehicle. Because we had the connectivity issues to try and improve those, our MDT and RMS software. So basically, it's gonna run the FirstNet platform and gives priority so that we can be better connected. So it's gonna be a 30-day trial thing and we're gonna determine how we're gonna move forward from there. Whether we're gonna switch modems to FirstNet or whatever, because we only have the one rocket modem in the cruisers right now
Mhm.
that runs our body cam and RMS. And as Rob likes to say, we have a pipe this big and we have information this big trying to go through a pipe, so it's
Yeah.
locking up. I've learned this past week that DOT was nice enough to come in and change speed limit signs on Route 120. Apparently, south of Grantham Road has been changed from the 35-mile-an-hour zone to 50-mile-an-hour zone where you have the resident housing and we have 2 school bus stops right there. So I reached out to DOT through Ross Wood and he was just made aware of it. And I'm still waiting a call back. Apparently, they're gonna be going over to the 12A side too to change speed limits there.
They're making them higher.
I know over on this side on 120,
Right,
they made it. What's that?
On the corners, where those two bus stops are right after you're coming 50 miles an
That
hour.
was my issue.
Yeah, how odd.
And did they give you
Where are we
any
talking
reason as to why?
So when you come out of Main Street, you take a left on 120. So it's 35 there, but when you, just before you get to the curve where you have Bailey Automotive and the houses there,
Yeah.
they've upped it from 50. Before it was 35 from Grantham Mountain Road
Hmm.
going south. That was a 35-mile-an-hour stretch because you have the houses there with kids
Yeah,
and the twist. And then it becomes 50 on that long straightaway to the
Yeah.
mobile park. Well, they conveniently changed it to 50 and I
Odd
have no
decision.
idea why. So I'm still waiting a call back.
Well,
from
we've
them.
been asking them to lower it.
Right. So apparently there was some study done and this is what came out of it. So I'm still waiting for a call back. If I don't get a call
Perfect.
back,
Wow.
by
Perfect,
the end
well,
of
there
this
you
week,
go.
I'll be reaching back out to them.
That's the,
Wow, okay,
I may have somebody to call.
Well, I called Ross Wood and he said that he would have better chance of getting a hold of somebody to call me back instead of me trying to hunt down somebody. So
Yeah, no, this would be, why did they change it in the first place? Trying to get an answer on
Pretty
that.
good.
they said that they did like some sort of traffic study.
Yes, and that's the Safe Streets for All program and the grant and the report that just got published or is about to be published in Sullivan County. And so there, that may be one avenue where you say, hey, you know,
Yeah.
nobody who would look at that, I don't think, would come up with a conclusion that you raise the speed limit there,
right?
right?
That's so
I think,
odd.
but somebody driving through, not from the area,
Maybe
looking at
not.
other attributes on a map maybe,
Right.
might reach that conclusion. And so that's,
Well, we've got Ross in town, so
Yeah,
hopefully we'll
yep.
get to the bottom of it, and find out what the thinking was.
Yep, so I'm waiting till the end of this week. If I don't hear anything, then I'll be calling Ross on Monday and seeing if he can get the ball rolling for me.
Right.
The PD got a conviction on a case from 2024 for 2 felonies. We were able to clear out 1 rack in our evidence room, so, because the case is closed, so we destroyed that evidence that was left over from that case. We continue to destroy evidence because now we're in there, we're looking at things and stuff that was just left over, we were able to get rid of more evidence, so we have another rack empty. We returned money to Max Maple from a theft case from 2024, returned that money to them today. This past week, we were involved in a soft lockdown at the or at the school regarding a student that refused to go back into the building. Went outside, teachers were out there, all the other students were locked inside. I was sent there to make sure the child didn't get towards Bonner Road. But the child's mother was eventually called and everything was contained and everything was fine from there. Community events, we read a book to the kids called Hands Are Not for Hitting, because they were having an issue with some of the kids not keeping their hands to themselves. Went well, we attended senior lunch and we're showing some of the students Project Sleuth.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was very interesting.
Yeah.
We'll be participating in World Autism Day at PES tomorrow morning. Today we did Read Across America with them, so
Nice.
that's what we did there. I am working with the school to coordinate their upcoming evacuation drill as well as a tabletop exercise. Tabletop exercise, which I don't know if it's familiar, Stephanie Sheld did one. But this is going to be geared towards an event that's happening in the school to get an idea how the teachers are gonna react and respond. What course of action they're gonna take, whether they're going to evacuate or stay in place. It's basically, there's no wrong answers. It's a collaboration to understand who do they contact? Is there something in place? Who do they call? What decisions are they gonna make? What's best for the specific scenario? I specifically said I didn't want to do anything like an active shooter because they've never done a tabletop exercise before. I didn't want to bring it to that sort of level.
Mm.
So we're gonna do something sort of mid-range so that it gets them thinking to understand and go from there. And we'll have an answer questions afterward, evaluate what did we do right, what did we do wrong, what can we do better? It's a learning opportunity. We'll begin deploying our speed sign and speed trailer this month, now that the weather's clearing up. And we will be participating in our National Drug Take Back program on Saturday, April 25th. From 10 to 2, and we'll also be doing Coffee with a Cop, and we're gonna do that from 9 to 1 the same time, so that people have a chance to come out and meet us.
Great.
That's my report.
Now, you gotta admit, 25 years in Rocky Hill, and you never got to read Hands Are Not for Hitting. Right? I mean, that is the Plainfield way, right there.
They actually reached out to us to say, we have this problem, what do we do? And I sent them back, I said, here's the book, Hands Are Not for Hitting, and
Yeah,
there you go.
Ah, well, there's.
it's a good one. I
Good work.
know that book.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. Brad,
So been a busy couple of weeks. The town hall has had its first rental and we made it through the cold snap. Bev and Bruce were monitoring the sensors and I had a little electric portable heaters we brought in to keep it right on the threshold.
As you know, we're at a
Couple of
point where we've removed the heat from the bathrooms.
That's right.
But we had pressure to open the hall early for the play, and so a little bit of juggling, but I think we had no water freeze up. right?
No, as of Thursday, the tank was down a quarter, so this day and age, $300 to $500 so far, you know, in that period of time, from the time we opened it on the 20th, I think it was. Replacement glass for Ferry Hill second floor is in. I spent a couple hours the end of last week, cleaning up the debris up there and start getting ready for that new glass. I'll pick the glass up probably Monday. And I've been working with Bruce on fire alarms and some other things there. Reached out to Ormsby Computing for a first project size bite of getting town office IT migrated to Windows 11. So we'll ask them, to put together a proposal, and assuming we like the numbers, we'll proceed and have them work on that. I'm trying to get things in order so that by the time September comes and we are ready to change over to Hub 66 and fiber, that we have all the other stuff in place, sort of divide the disruptions and make sure we, fiber is going to be new for us. Should be plug and play, but we just want to sort of get into a settled mode with current things. And then hope that that last transition is smooth and do the best we can to prepare for that.
What would you think, and you said glass at Ferry Hill,
Yes,
at our next meeting, could we start at 5:30 and meet over at Ferry Hill? Or the next
Look at
meeting
my-
after
yeah,
that?
Let me look to my calendar.
I mean, there's nothing critical. I mean, Ferry Hill's been there a while. Easy for Kent, he's right there.
I'd like to go check it out.
I'd love to go, I just need to,
Don't you guys have a firing range in there or something?
Gravel pit.
down below.
Down to gravel that they do,
the 15th.
15th.
Maybe there won't be a grader.
Or you can put a bid in.
Right, there you go.
If I could do 5:30.
Okay, so
That would be great.
I mean, we
Guys
won't
to-
try to
to
do
see
multiple
what it
town
is.
buildings, we'll just focus on that one, because
Yeah.
Brad has some summer plans. And keep in mind that it,
Should we be worried?
but ideas of what we might do with that building in terms of, it is our most underutilized building. It is also not in great shape, I mean, it's a building that needs some work, we preserved it by doing some work a few years ago. But it is, it is a lot of space, but water department has some issues. Rich is clearly would like to talk to you about your plans,
Woody.
he was, and
Go
so,
figure.
Is 5:30, will that give us enough time?
I think what we have to is that.
Being there, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
will you-
I mean, I could. push
I
it
think
to 5.
just
You wanna go
putting
5:15?
eyes on,
But,
the conversations can happen.
right, well, let's
after
go
that.
5:15 if
Let's
we
go
can.
5:15,
if we
just,
can.
yeah, I'd rather,
Does that work for you? I mean, in terms of getting in 5:15 PM, Ferry Hill. Well, I mean, Brad and I will
I
be there
probably
ahead of
won't
you
be-
guys, we'll
yeah,
have
it
the
won't be
gate,
much before that, but I think. I
right,
can-
we'll have the gate open and.
Yeah.
And, this is a building that was donated to the town 10 or 15 years ago from a failed gravel pit operation that never really started, and it's, you'll be entertained by it at the very least.
What's
It
the
is.
number address?
Yes,
What's the number address?
67 Ferry Hill Road, I believe. Has electric now, I mean, has a
Well,
well.
It's behind that big chain link fence, right?
Right, well, we tried to do that after the kids broke all the windows out for us.
Oh, really?
And I don't think they realized what it was, but it was just a building and kids are kids, and pretty soon you got issues.
What was it building?
So we
that had
extended
windows?
the fence from the highway, from the gravel pit, and that helped. I mean, it's a different crime when you have to jump the fence to get in there. And so I mean, we're using it and we can continue to use it better. So we'll show it to you on the 15th. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it tonight, but.
Yeah. Water department's been busy. We updated and just submitted our emergency response plan. That was something that we were required to do by the end of the month, and we did that. We've got some other things that we'll flesh out. This is the first time that we had to do it. It's a 3-year cycle that is required. They'd love to have you look at it every year, but real world, the state enforces us to submit our for years. And this was the first time the town had done it. And we were working off a 2-page, one that had been on the wall in the pump house, and that was good as far as it went, but the world had changed, and so we got that in, so the new one's 14 pages. First quarter billing is in progress. I did, most of the reads in about an hour and a half, on last Friday, no, Monday. And I've got half a dozen to finish up, and then I'll organize that data and Michelle will put it in, and so we're getting far more streamlined in this process because we have, the new meters are auto reading for the most part. And the pickup, the loose ends after that are relatively small and fast to do. So that's been a good thing to see come together. We've got Frank Sutton is back in town and has installed 6 more meters as of yesterday and is just going ahead. We've got a total left of think about a dozen and a half now, and then we'll be done. That'll keep us everything except the Spruce Park, and Spruce Park will start to ramp up as far as discussions. My expectation is now the weather's warmer, they'll be able to have their meeting in their clubhouse space.
I hope so, because my sister won't drink the water
I
coming out of
wondered
the
if you
tap.
were related.
Yeah,
I just.
it's the
I
attitude,
hadn't made the
right?
connection. No, I haven't met her, I haven't had the pleasure. Let's see, we're preparing for a kickoff meeting. I think I told you, we got the approval on the grant, sustainability grant for the engineering review of the water treatment system, but it will encompass starting from our source water chemistry right through our distribution. So it's a good thorough look. That's a grant, that's 2/3, 1/3 thing. The first event is this kickoff meeting. I've had a conversation with Dufresne engineer and we're picking a date. So that'll happen. And my hope is, because I just got a mailing from DES about the funding that we're gonna get some recommendations. We know that, we just don't know exactly what they're gonna be and what kind of scale. Assuming that they are not going to be cheap, I'm already looking for help with the installation. And so that is probably coming in the form of a state revolving fund targeted at water systems. And so I just got a notice today saying that pre-application process opened today. And so I jumped on it, created an application on the front end, got all the stuff and called the lady who runs that program. And so I know what we need to do, and we've got till June 1st in a perfect world, and really until the end of July, if our engineering takes time to produce the final proposals. But anyway, that's exciting because I thought we might miss it and miss a cycle and have to push the work off. At this point, we're going as fast as we can. So which will make the state happy, make us happy. We're sort of doing okay on our current setup, but we don't have that flexibility. And so, the leak set us back and we recovered from that. But if we hadn't found it, if it had introduced contaminants somewhere along the way, we could have been needing to haul water and do other things. And so the sooner we can get these new changes implemented, the happier I'll be. So anyway, that's all coming together nicely, and let's see. Yeah, that's basically it. A lot of other little things, but those are the biggies.
So do you think your refill capacity to the tank is gonna allow you to flush some hydrants this spring? I mean, we did last year because of the drought, and we know that
Right.
anytime the fire department touches the hydrant,
Yes.
we muddy the
So,
water, if you will.
in this billing, which is gonna go out, is targeted to go out on the 8th. We're giving a flushing notice, and I believe we have targeted a date. Sorry, I should have looked that up.
But there is a date.
There is a date. We wanted to give them at least 2 weeks, and then Maura had a conflict, and so we're on a but we picked a time that looks like it would work. Let me just.
Just for a while, your
The 25th.
filtration system wouldn't allow you to just dump water down on the
Well,
street,
so this window is, so I met with Maura yesterday to finish up this submission of the ERP. And then we talked about the flushing schedule and this is where we'll make sure the tank is full, but it's an art of making sure that the water that's chlorine dissipates over time. We treat with chlorine to disinfect and do other things. And so you want the water in the tank to have a certain amount of chlorine, but you can't wait and just fill it and leave it. You have to cycle it through. So there's gonna be a timing thing where we will run through 50,000-60,000 gallons of flushing. And so, actually probably more than that. The tank is 132,000 gallons, and so we should have plenty, but you don't want to run it down because that's your flywheel if you have a problem.
Mhm.
So the idea is maybe we take a third of that water, but we want to start with a full tank.
Mhm.
And that tank has to be of an age on average that is going to deliver good chlorinated water in the event we can't pump. So it's an art. We're getting our hands around it and we got the save set and our notice will go out and but their target is the 25th.
Terrific. All right,
Thanks, Brad.
thanks. Steve.
Other things on the
We
agenda.
get to town land follow-up.
Yes, and so I included, I think, in the packet and sent around
Mhm.
what we discovered with the piece of land on School Street.
Yeah.
Actually, it isn't on School Street, it's on Bonner Road only. So you got an excerpt from the minutes.
Yep,
From
yep.
those discussions, and then there is a Chris
That was
Rollins
helpful.
survey of the
It was,
property.
yep.
And so I think the next step is in your court, what you would like to do with that information. I mean, what we know is we don't really own any land on the school driveway. We own land up to near the driveway. When Steve Taylor and his Board of Selectmen laid out the School Street Road, which has never really been considered a road, but is. They purposely laid it entirely inside Nelson LePan's land so that no abutter got frontage. So we the town bought land from the Robinsons. So the frontage the lot has is on Bonner Road. It has no frontage on the driveway to the school, which is really School Street.
It doesn't look like there's more than one building parcel there, though. It looks like it would need to be.
Yeah, I think just the frontage
If
on,
there's a decision to
Yes.
let go of this land, it would be as one building lot.
right, we have.
I'm not too concerned about the environmental issues because of the work that the planning board did on getting the ordinances set up for riparian buffers and wetland protections.
You know, essentially, the lot has something like 111 feet of frontage on Bonner Road,
Mhm.
which isn't enough to subdivide. And so you're right, it is. What we had forgotten in our time, here's Bonner Road, here's School Street coming in. And that's the school's bound, you know, the lot does not go to the road. The lot goes to here, and so this is land of the Plainfield School District between the road and the land, so our access point is here on Bonner Road. And so I think, to your point, it is a house lot, it is a
Yeah,
post
I'll
office
say that.
lot, it is a commercial deli mart lot, it is
I wouldn't
whatever.
want to see any kind of commercial, anything there, not with the kids
Right,
walking
well,
back
and
and
that's,
forth
I
to school.
mean, from the minutes, that's exactly why we bought it, you know, so the
Yeah.
town could control what would happen. In
But
the
a
future.
nice little starter house there would look real sweet.
And so it's, I think if that was the direction the board wanted to go, then we would have an article at next town meeting to get approval to sell, you know, a piece of land owned by the town valued at X amount of dollars. And see where it went. I think at some point between now and town meeting next, you guys would probably meet anyways with the school board, and it would be a point of discussion with the school board, just what are you guys working on? Oh, we're considering what the possible use of our Bonner Road land is. School district, town of Plainfield, two entirely different legal entities. They own their land in the school building. We own that land, you know, both controlled by the town of Plainfield and its taxpayers, but they are, and again, we bought the lot with no preconceived notions other than that New England mentality. If you want to know what's gonna happen to it in the future, buy it. and then it's yours.
But we can put conditions on the deed.
Yes, any of those things, you can do anything you know, and there's, you know, I believe, yes, right there, you would have access to both municipal water and municipal sewer, so.
And this
Now,
is,
at that point, under the new law, state law, or ADU versions,
You can have an ADU.
you get an ADU by default. Does that change
What's
anything? about-
ADU?
Accessory dwelling unit, another house. Everybody can have two houses now. One is much smaller than the first one, or one of them is small. The ADU no bigger than 950 square feet, which apparently by today's standards in Plainfield is a closet. When I grew up, that was a nice sized ranch, because they were 800 square feet. They were 20 by 40. But 950 is an ADU.
I don't know that the, water resource ordinances will allow for an additional building on that.
But the state law may
Right,
not
that,
care.
that trumps that. And
So to
so
speak.
that's, yeah, so to speak. Well, just, it was mostly my question is, since it's raw land, do they still, like, lot coverage, not an issue?
No,
Okay.
not for a house, not for a residential use.
Well, say you had 2,000 square foot house and you wanted to have a detached ADU, at what point are you limited? Right now, you've got you only need 20,000 feet for the first home on water and sewer and.
Which gets you the ADU as
And
well,
gets
by
you
state
the,
law now.
okay, so there's no
Did away with
additional
all those
increment.
lot requirements.
Yeah,
so it's
okay.
done
All right,
Anymore, and so I think it is, you know, I mean, we have always said the Townsend land on Bonner Road is the land that is most developable in our town. It has water, sewer, and it's right next to the school.
Okay,
Well,
guys,
this one is-
excuse me, I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around the idea that the state law supersedes our wetland protection ordinances.
let me give you a phone number.
That,
Well, I mean,
we put
but-
a lot of work into
Well,
getting
but
those
we-
things.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that they
Right, I mean, no one
protections were in
would be
place.
allowed to live to work within the wetland, but you could put two houses in that 2 acres of land. You know, a house and an
In
ADU.
an ADU.
I don't necessarily mind that they have that, I just don't want them building in the wetlands, I mean.
Yeah, oh, no,
That isn't what.
Our
okay.
zoning
All right.
ordinance used to require additional acreage.
Yes,
if you-
we made at
Okay.
one point.
But
said
that is gone now.
Right,
Okay.
we said that
Can't
is,
do that by
you
state
can have
law.
no more than one, but the
anymore.
state has said that's
Okay.
not true.
And
Okay,
so,
I'll get down off my.
And we're
high
not
horse
saying
now.
it's a great idea.
but
I'm back in my chair. It's okay.
I mean, I'm thinking, and I'm not saying. This is your idea. I think the rest of us might just leave this sit there for the future generations, but you've said you'd like to see it developed. Or at least put to a higher use than just
I-
sitting as a fallow field.
I think it's irresponsible for the town to be holding on to a piece of property that does not have a service to the town. When we have people that could build on that, have a nice little house, get some kids in the system. Have it actually be a piece of property that's producing revenue from the town. For the town, rather than just sitting there. I appreciate the whole open space thing. I am a massive environmental advocate, as you could see from me jumping out of my seat. But I don't think that it's responsible for us to be keeping a viable building lot. That we can't really turn it into a park in a practical way. The school is right there, that's a park. And I don't want to see a commercial that developed commercially. I don't want it to be a post office. I don't particularly want the town to be taken on having a daycare center there either. I don't want to see the increased traffic on that. And in my mind, the only viable use for that is a residential use.
And I think
really-
if the board wants to do that and bring that to town meeting, do it on the auspices of some sort of affordable housing.
Yes.
It's not a moneymaker. It'll
No.
never be a moneymaker if it has a
But that's the
residence on
whole
it.
point, is that we don't need to be doing this to make money.
Right.
It's not to make a profit. It's to make a not used piece of land that could be used without damaging the land.
And so would your thought be, I'm thinking as a public process, it gets sold to the highest bidder probably. There may be restrictions on what size of a house you can
Yeah.
build.
Yes.
Or something of that
Yes.
nature.
Conditions, yeah.
Right.
And even what kind of home businesses you could run out of it.
Well, and-
Because I wouldn't wanna see a home business in there that's going to have a bunch of traffic coming in
And
and
that's
out
where
of
we'd
there.
also have to look at the state laws about
Yeah.
home businesses, right?
And
Cause I
how
think,
can- I mean, we've got an ordinance
yes,
that says you can do certain things on a
Right,
building.
I-
Lot. Can we sell a lot with?
Well, I
Can
think
a
you
lot
would-
have
the
constraints
town
like
would
that?
be the, would
With
hold private
private-
covenants. I mean, we've got private covenants around town. It's enforceable. Not by the town, but by the owners who sold it, if you will.
Right.
But I think if the town wanted to say no, residential use only, no businesses here, Barry Schuster would come up with some language.
Mhm.
I agree with you. It gets complex because whoever buys it will wanna do something that's close to what you didn't want them to do, but not covered.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
the
that-
thing
that's
is
just-
that the town owns this right now. We could sell it at a reasonable price. But you're getting this piece of property at a reasonable price because there's restrictions on it. You don't wanna deal with the restrictions, buy a piece of land somewhere else.
Right, and I think you will find your school board will have strong feelings too. You might or might not agree with them or care, but you'll wanna hear it. You'll wanna hear what they have to say before we craft whatever article. It's a year away now, town meeting. Cause I think this is something that would, you said last meeting, you want town meetings. We're not gonna sell a piece of land,
No.
a significant piece of land. We have gotten rid of
It
a
would go-
butter value land that odd
it would
orphaned
go to the
and
town.
things of that
I would
nature.
expect so.
But the
I
town.
mean, this isn't anything that we want.
Alright, so I'll put a note in the file for, that one, next time we meet with the school board, talk about Bonner Road.
Yeah.
And two, do that before town meeting next year so we can put together an article. But what I'm hearing is residential use
Yes,
and
Yes. And I
maybe,
feel like I'm being a bull in a china shop here. You guys chime in with whatever you feel you wanna
I mean,
share.
I'd have to think about it more, but I'd be more inclined to give that property to the school and to like, the trouble is, if you wanna do the best by people, we wanna have low end or affordable housing, I guess you
As
say,
best we
but
can.
at what point does that become subsidized housing? Because you've got to, do you give somebody a tax break, which is a subsidy? Or do you just sell it at a cheap price when you
I
could
don't think you
actually?
even get
I
what
don't
you
think
want
you
at
can
that
do
that.
point. Economics don't work that way.
Mm.
You
What's
know,
that?
basically, you can sell, you can say the town is not gonna ask for it, for 50,000, the last 50,000 for $100,000 lot, fine, somebody gets a deal. What are they gonna do on that property? They're gonna build a house, but a house in Plainfield, a trailer has sold for 200,
Because the taxes,
You know,
then
they're gonna- it's
becomes
gonna-
assessed value and.
until you do something like a homestead exemption or do something else to everybody gets. That you have to be a progressive taxation before you change the dynamics that are creating expensive housing in Plainfield.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
the market is always gonna drive that price to the highest part.
I'm not actually looking for this to solve the housing situation in Plainfield.
right, I've been,
I just
You don't
don't.
wanna be rid of the.
I
Right, I
don't
think
want
that-
to.
and that's- it's an
That's
asset
fine,
we
I
should
just don't think.
on the tax rolls is where I think
Right.
you're.
And if, at that point, if you're trying, then you are asking as much money as you can get.
Yeah,
Right?
Or-
You would say, this is we've been holding this property in trust for the community and we want to get out of that position, so we're gonna do the best we can for the community that we've been holding.
And the
in trust for.
community might
And
well
that's-
feel different, right? They may
Right.
just
Right, they
say,
may-
but to test
Right,
it,
yeah.
to
Right.
test it occasionally and find out if that's what, we bought it. However many years ago those minutes were, and we said, it was. Pure, I think it was 78 total, 75 for the land, 3,000 for Rollins to survey and permitting and all of that. But it was entirely for, just to control what happens to
Yeah.
it, that's all it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't because it was environmentally significant or its location to the school district. Was what drove us to do it, because we knew the Robinsons were getting ready to do a subdivision and they wanted.
I think it's
Um,
great to test the community.
Yeah, and
See
see,
what
I
they
mean,
care about.
We have just, this lot is not as valuable from that perspective. But surprisingly to us, we have now had 2 lots up near Bean Road in Gleason. One was 1.4 acres. No, 4 acres. I keep making that error. 4 acres and it sold for 194,000. We have one under contract at 7 acres for 240,000.
And they are raw land.
And
no-
I
those-
was gonna say they're
Raw
not.
land.
Well, and what's interesting is
Yeah, they
those
are.
lots, if those sales continue, they will become the market for the next revow. Right, that's what land values I mean, we thought the first one was a mistake. That
Correct.
somebody paid too much, they
Yeah.
made a you know, they just got excited, they loved looking at the KUA guest
So
house.
that's the field between the guest house and the.
It's if you go to Bean Road and you're
Yeah.
going up right straight up and then Gleason comes
Yeah.
down, it's that corner right there.
Oh.
Actually
The
up
wooded
Gleason a
corner,
little
it's
bit.
Not the,
It's a lousy building site.
Yeah, they're not the best lots of they're not the best lots of the subdivision that was done. Astounding numbers for us. I mean,
Yeah.
numbers that cause the assessing package some stress because those are $60,000-$80,000 lots in our history,
Right.
right? That's what they are.
Yeah.
People pay that and you think, okay, now they're gonna put a well and a septic and make it better and put their house. These numbers make no sense to us. I think the lot on Bonner Road is much closer to $100,000 lot because people are. The school is attractive for some, a detractor for others, right? Every morning, all the
But it's
cars.
got town water and sewer.
Right.
You
which
look
they-
up, you don't have to drill
they
a
do
well.
tremendous.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyways, I think I got my direction on the town building
Okay.
law, we'll get you in front of the school. I don't know, you guys may have heard, Beth Beerworth is now the superintendent for the.
no,
Oh,
I had not heard that.
Kyle is left,
Okay.
and I don't know the circumstances of that.
Is she an interim or has she been a?
She
is
is,
she the-
she is stopgap while
Okay.
they hire an intern,
Okay.
and then a year from now, they'll hire a permanent.
Okay,
I suppose if the.
which I'm sure she's welcome to apply for, but.
Yeah, I think Beth is just, was the one in the room.
Yeah.
Last one.
Everyone else left quickly.
One of the things that has occurred, apparently, and Kyle being able to get the job was a benefit of that. There were certain conditions to be a superintendent. Those conditions have been relaxed now. And so other administrative skills can qualify you as a superintendent. And I think for the school district, there's not a certificate anymore or maybe you can get the certificate, but you don't have to have a certificate to be a superintendent. And so I think for the school district, Beth is clearly the person,
Well,
who can do.
nobody knows more about
Right.
the school and the finances of it all.
So you're gonna see, I think there's been a thing in Connect Cornish
I
about
saw
a
that,
committee
yeah.
for the new.
Yeah, I saw
superintendent.
that. I just
Yeah.
haven't seen if
Town
that
hall that
was
could be
our.
filed.
Yeah, yes, I think both Kyle and his wife were serving as superintendents, living some distance apart. She was in Rhode Island and he had an
Okay.
apartment in Claremont and would go back and forth, but I don't know the details other than they're now looking for superintendent. And if you need a superintendent right now, you call Beth,
Gotcha.
which
Okay.
I had great fun with today because I just had to call Beth. I sent in the paperwork, and we'll get into this more maybe in a non-public session at the next meeting, although we have to do a non-public session at this meeting because of some pay things. But, we've signed the contract and sent it in with MRI.
Yeah.
That's
The
good.
hope is to have, and I had a meeting today with Bev, who was here, she's on the Zoom call. So we hope to get the report back to you for June. And so that we could begin whatever town administrative search there is, and Bev will work with you at upcoming meetings as to what that will be like. And the hope would be to have somebody, a rough schedule, but to have somebody in place by October. That somebody we've gone through the recruitment, we've hired them, they're now working in the office. And then we figure the rest out. I mean, you guys will be involved in all of that, but the plan is to, work this through so that, the first step is to get the MRI
Yeah.
study to know. One of the things we think is more likely than not, based on Grantham situation, is that they probably, seems unlikely that there won't be a bookkeeper piece of this discussion.
Yeah.
A part-time bookkeeper for the town of Plainfield, and one of the discussions that we might have. And I think if the turnaround time is gonna be quick, we let MRI do its work first. But that may be, that position you may wanna bring in before the new town administrator, just so we can get that person up and running and doing bookkeeping work. Which we're doing now, but it is the start of the process that will eventually get you a new town administrator. No later than this time next year. I mean, that is the end result is we, be done this time next year.
I like the idea that it's several $1,000s less than we had budgeted for.
Yes, I can tell you all kinds of other things that will cost you $4,000 than that, but yes, yeah, no, it's a good thing, and I think let's take it one step at a time. Let's get a critical look at our, because we are in a real inflection point in our office. You've got Michelle, who has come and gone and is back and is gone. Tax collecting is a piece. Sarah's job is a piece. Sarah's job is two jobs. We don't evaluate or set the hours for the elected town clerk. She is elected by the people to be your town clerk. She's also our office manager, and so that's the part that we evaluate, that's the part that we talk about. But let's see what the MRI study
Yeah.
says.
And we have to do that.
I think, what I told Bev today is that if you end up with. I think, and depending on the quality of the candidates. It would be a very, very large bite for most people to do the full fund accounting, accounts payable, payroll package.
yeah.
And do planning and zoning as well as town administrator. I think that's just a hard
Yep.
nut to find. You may find somebody, and if you do, great. I think the obvious growth in the town, places where we could get more help, would be with the fund accounting, accounts payable piece. I mean, I think it will be seen as unusual from MRI that the town administrator also does the accounts payable and payroll. That I think they would think that the town administrator would oversee the fund accounting, but wouldn't oversee those two modules necessarily. We do it because it's work we've done for many years, and Michelle and I, tag teamed it for years, and now Sarah and I do. But I think so we're starting the process, and the first thing, the MRI study should be back. I'll let you know, but the goal is that they do their work in our office in May, and they have the report back in early April, early June.
That would be good.
So.
Yeah.
So that's the town office study update. Quick look on, you saw it in the packet. The budget we're depending on how you want to read this week. And whether it's an April week or a March week, we're essentially 1/4 of the way through the year, and we have 3/4 of our budget left. So that's a good thing. I think the one thing we're gonna want to be cautious about on the big ticket items. How much paving we commit to.
Yeah.
And knowing right now that we budgeted for diesel fuel at more like $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
And it's now $6 a gallon, $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
And so we are gonna have to maybe pull our horns in a little bit, but that's just a management decision as the summer goes on.
Yeah.
And so right now, we're fine. And I don't think we are consuming any particular part of the budget any quicker than we thought we would. And so we'll just, we'll just keep a close eye on it. But if you look back at our 20-year average, we're about where we always are, right here. I mean, that's the whole point of the budget. It's something we've done a long time. I was glad you pointed it out, Amy. I thought this was absolutely great of Rich.
Yeah.
To do in terms of giving you more feedback. I mean, we're trying to get Rich.
Yeah.
One of the things that some of the work Brad's doing on the GIS stuff, depending on how far you want to take it. But this information becomes a neat record of when things were done, which could be accessed.
Yep.
And so I think that's good. MRI study, we talked about, grader, we talked about.
And I assume he's doing that as the week goes on, not just
Yeah, it is.
today, trying to remember
Oh,
what
no,
he
no,
did.
in the.
So the
Yeah.
times that Rich can't be with us, we still get a report from him, which is appreciated.
One of the things I'd like to do, and I think we could do this in public session and should do it in public session, are you guys on board with doing discussions? Let's not call them interviews. Discussions with building inspector candidates Monday night? Can you make that work? We can do it another night. There's no magic to Monday other than I have a planning board meeting at 7.
No, I
So
know.
I'm gonna be here anyways.
Was my concern, is like, when are you talking about doing this? Because
Well, I
I have a
think
planning
you-
board meeting.
right, I
at
think
7
we have-
also.
I think we have 3 people that I think you guys should see that would like to be your building inspector. And we would talk with each of them for 15 or 20 minutes. And so if we assume I'm off a little bit on that and we started at 5:30, I think we could be done by 7 and it would be a nice hard stop. We have to be done by 7. The trick is to try to get them to come and go where they're not running into each other, right? So but I think each of them, you should meet your building inspector. You should know who that's gonna be and help in that decision, because now we have competition. And so somebody's gonna win and somebody's gonna lose, and I'd like that to be a collaborative process.
So I appreciate that, and I can make a Monday night's not great, but I can make it work, cause.
Well, and if Tuesday or Wednesday is better, we can do it then.
But, well, yeah, I can look, it might be better, but if it works really well for both of you, that's fine.
I'm gonna be here anyway,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
my schedule's open.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
So the-
whatever works for you.
So Monday I can make work, the question is, without saying too much, I guess, in a public session, do we need to talk to all of them? Do you have a sense of,
There,
you'd like to?
well,
see it?
there's two that I would have wanted you to talk to.
Yeah,
And a third one who just came in Monday.
yeah,
And talking to some of the people we lean on for these things, those folks say, that guy might be good, that might
Okay.
work.
okay,
And
yeah,
so-
so if
so
there's
like-
anyone you think we.
Yeah, there are
like, I
four
don't wanna
total.
waste our yeah,
There are four total and
Anyway,
we narrowed the 4 to 3.
Okay.
And it would have been 2, except a
Okay.
good one showed up
Gotcha.
Monday.
And so I think we need to think about, or maybe you need to help us out with structuring how, if it's not an interview, what is it? And how.
Yeah, and I'll work on that. And, I mean, I think you can even be observers mostly if you
Yeah.
wanna be. They're all people you know or will know or
Yeah,
have seen
yeah.
around town.
Yeah, because sometimes even conversations go long, right? And we have a time limit on it.
Right.
So like, how
Right.
do we want to structure it? But I can make Monday night work. What
Okay.
time did you say you wanted?
Well, and let's do it
start?
this way, let's pick 2 nights in case for some reason one of these people can't make it
Okay.
or do,
And I'd rather do one night,
yes, oh, me too.
okay?
I'm in that mode of my life where I like to do,
So if somebody can't make, I
Yeah.
want it where they
Yeah.
can all make it, or maybe it just
Right.
doesn't work for
Right.
them.
so do you wanna say,
May, so that's.
so Monday night here at 5:15? That gives us plenty of time to talk to 3 people before South.
Yeah, just. trying to-
515.
I just
yeah.
gotta make sure I can make it for 5:50.
Or do you wanna go 5:30?
I'd rather go 5:30 on that, just
Yeah, I know
because I
you have-
will, just so I can
Yeah,
like,
no, you will.
come home and let my dog go.
Right.
Eat. No eating, there will be no eating before then, but yeah, that's appreciated. All right, let me
The
get
world
that.
is-
Alright, let's
safer
just
if I
assume
eat.
that it'll be Monday night.
It's Monday night, and if you have to
And
come back
we'll
to it.
gauge, right, we'll gauge the
Yeah.
eagerness for folks, I mean, yes, I think I can get them here and, I just gotta think a little bit about scheduling them, getting them in, getting them out, maybe,
So what's
should
your
we
plan
use your
B?
conference room?
Sure.
I mean, we might what, plan B?
What's your plan B?
For
You
what?
said 2 nights in case.
Yeah, well, but I'm hearing Amy say she'd really like to do it once, so my
No.
plan B is there is no plan B.
So people, if they can't all do it Monday night, but they can all
Right.
do it Tuesday,
Yeah.
or whatever, you can get back.
Yeah, I'll try to get it
Okay.
done in one night, so we don't spend.
Yes, whichever night that happens. to
Right, it
be.
just works really good for you and I, but if they can all do it Tuesday and nobody can do it Monday. What's the other night that would work next week? I mean, Wednesday,
Week. Or if
Yeah.
there's a night that would work better, Amy.
right, I mean, there's no magic to
Because-
this, we're gonna be home in an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, Mondays is fine, Tuesday's great, Monday's fine.
Tuesday's great, did I hear great?
You know.
So Monday primary, Tuesday, if we need
Yes.
an alternate.
And does that work for your schedule too?
Do Tuesday as an alternate,
Okay. And but the goal
But
will
don't
be to get all,
split the-
right, the
don't
goal
split
will be to
the-
get all 3 of them.
I'm coming once, no,
Yeah, to talk. Okay, Monday.
yeah, that works.
Tuesday. I read all these great notes and then tomorrow morning I looked at it like that.
mean?
What the hell is that? Exactly. I mean, that's hieroglyphics.
It's
MT.
Easter.
See, John,
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like I'm going somewhere on Sunday, what's Sunday, oh, it's Easter. Okay, that's-
Yeah.
I'm like, there's something in my head that's happening this weekend.
Somewhere.
Okay, so the last thing
Right.
on our agenda, and we know we don't like this, but it's just the time of the year where we're in. We need to do a short non-public session
Yes.
because it has to do with employee issues.
Yep, okay, so we
Have a
will be
good one.
going, after we vote, we'll be going into non-public session. We'll be then coming out just to only with the purpose of adjourning the public meeting. We won't be discussing anything after, so don't feel like you need to just stick around in your cars and come back in. I will, need someone to make a motion that we
I move
enter.
that we enter into non-public session with the intention that when we come out of non-public session, we will be adjourning the meeting.
And I will only add that we're going into non-public to discuss personnel issues.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we will now take a roll call vote.
Elise Angelillo, I.
Kent Weber, aye.
Amy Lappin, aye. We are now in non-public session.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Thank you.